Since this awakening is about we and not me, I have been rather hesitant about talking about myself. I am usually the one you would see sitting in the back of a room observing rather than singing on the stage. Much like Twitter, I watch interaction rather than engaging, so I can observe the different perspectives and reactions of everyone on every side. It allows me to explore non-confrontational ways to spread the truth to ears that are hesitant to listen. Now today, after years with my eyes open, I have to remind myself that I was once blind too, which is why I feel it is time to tell my story in hopes that someone else can understand why I first emerged from slumber. I have always loved the common identity, no matter what gender or color. Yet I have always been suspicious of those in power and thought I was aware, while unknowingly blinded by the same rhetorical traps that are even more refined today. I considered myself a Democrat, being the woke one, because we were the ones that fought for the little man, searching for peace, while the Republicans were the racist warmongers. I fell for the ruse that Democrats and Republicans just switched platforms over the years, and the conservatives were the ones that stood against equality. Having been in Scotland during the Clinton administration, I was watching news on the bombings that took place in Kosovo, only to get back to the States to find out not many people knew anything about it, yet everyone was talking about Columbine, which occurred on the same day. It was not soon after when I realized that the Democrat and Republican were simply two sides of the same coin. One day in 2015, I hear Donald Trump announce that he was running for President of the United States, and could not think of anyone that I disliked more than him. I probably loathed him as much as any of the media today. To me, he was a narcissist and just another rich man trying to prove he was something. But I knew Hillary was an even more dangerous option, so one day I let go of the hate I had for Trump and listened. It wasn't because of Trump. It was because I have learned over the years that when the media collectively attacks something, there's a sinister reason, especially because they supported Clinton, who I knew was a crook. After viewing a few rallies, many things Trump said fascinated me, and he seemed to want to expose the corruption of Washington rather than contribute to it. But talk is cheap. Once media started calling Trump a racist, I knew they were trying to control the narrative against him. Regardless of how I felt about Trump personally, I had already read the articles throughout the years of his contribution to urban areas and the awards he had received for his charity to minorities, only to see those same people that celebrated him then calling him a racist today. Immediately into the beginning of his presidency, I noticed that he was actually working towards the things that he had promised, but I also noticed the media refused to acknowledge anything not defamatory to Trump. One day, I learned of a man on 4chan claiming to be an FBI agent who was attempting to inform people of how corrupt and infiltrated our world's governments actually were. It reminded me of what I had read as a young boy through conspiracy books about the Illuminati. Soon after, in November 2017, I started watching an anonymous source of information that eventually moved to 8chan, signing each post with a Q. At first, it was just entertaining research, but I soon realized that this may be more real than I had originally thought, and this may actually be a military operation that Trump was at least aware of. Although much of what I learned horrified me, much more started to make sense. Many times I hoped what I discovered was not real, but the information and facts were all there. I just had to look for them, realizing that the reason I had not discerned this before was because our whole lives we've been told what to know, and the truth had merely been suppressed. At this point, even if the operation was a lark, the reality of what I had discovered was very real. Because I took a moment to research something people were telling me not to, I learned the truth behind his presidency, the truth behind the cabal, and understand now why no other person on this earth could be doing what Trump has been chosen for. Because I took a little time to research, I found out how real evil is and how very real the devil is, which in consequence has strengthened my faith in God more than any other time in my life. So for those of you that still think our president is the enemy and you are the ones fighting for injustice, I respectfully ask that you contemplate just a few things. If the Democrats are fighting racism, why are they the ones that separate us into groups? If you are fighting for our ability to speak freely, how can you do that while shutting down my conversation? If liberalism is really about thinking for yourself, how can you let yourselves be so influenced by Hollywood and the mainstream media? Finally, if the liberal code is to fight the man, why would you willingly fight for more government and more rules? We all have the ability and the right to feel differently, think differently, and become anything you desire while simultaneously being tolerant of others' ambitions. To sum this up, I want you to understand that we are all in this together, and even if you resist the truth now, you will have no choice but to eventually see it. And on that day, I will not say I told you so. I will not hold on to the hate I receive now, I will simply help you cope with what you have learned. Although I do want to be part of this history, I do not need others to know I was. I do not make these videos to seek fame. I will never be one to seek riches. I only want to know that I did everything I could for something greater than myself.